Hey everyone, it's Amanda. So recently I fulfilled one of my longtime dreams, going to New York Fashion Week. It was a crazy adventure and of course I wanted to share it with you, so here is what I did. There's something special about New York City. Whenever I go, I fall in love with the streets and architecture and the people. And at New York Fashion Week, I was able to experience it in a whole new way. I was able to go backstage and witness all the craziness of the makeup artists, the hairstylists, the nail artists, and the models running around trying to get everything together for the show. Even though it seems like a hectic free-for-all from the outside, everyone knows their place in the system and knows what they have to be doing. There's no nail left unpainted, no eyelash left uncurled, and no hairstyle left unsprayed. In the end, all these little details come together into a beautiful show that showcases the designer's creations. During every single show I went to, I actually kept a little sketchbook with me in order to take notes and doodles on the colors and silhouettes I saw so that I could revisit them in the future and stay inspired. One of the coolest things I got to do was go to the Wang show, and I quickly became obsessed with the whole look for this collection. It's very much inspired by strong woman and being your own boss. I loved the sleek wet hair, the fresh makeup, and the sheer chromatic nude nails courtesy of Essie. By the way, just a fun fact, the nail polish is wild nude with au natural on top, so if you want to get the look, that's what the models were wearing. I got so inspired by the strong, bold, edgy minimalism of this collection, and I had to do some fashion illustrations of the collection. Unfortunately, I couldn't draw all of the looks because there were so many amazing ones, but here were a couple of my favorites and some of the highlights of the show in my opinion. In order to start off the sketches, I drew a quick base sketch of the models, and this is just comprised of simple lines and shapes just to get the body proportions correct, and we'll add all the clothes and the face later on. I know I'm gonna get a lot of questions on what pencil I like to sketch with, and this pencil is a 0.3 mechanical lead pencil. The 0.3 part is the most important part. It doesn't matter what brand. I love using this thin mechanical pencil because I can really get into the details. Speaking of details, after we have the base sort of skeleton of the models, I go in and draw more detailed lines and solidify the shape of the body. My favorite part about fashion sketches is that the proportions and the details don't have to be perfect. The whole point is to highlight the clothing, so as long as you're doing that, everything else is secondary. Once I had the main outline of the body down pat, I went back in and drew the actual clothes onto the model. It kind of feels like you're dressing up a doll, so I love it. Then I went in with my watercolors to add some light, loose shading and colors to the sketch because, again, we're trying to highlight the clothes, so I wanted to showcase the color palette of the collection and do a look from each section of the show. During the show, it was almost like there were different sections, so 3 or 4 of the looks at a time would have a matching fabric or color or silhouette, and I tried to emulate the main color palettes and silhouettes and looks of the whole collection in the 4 that I chose. I'm probably not explaining this very well, but during the show, it transitioned so nicely and the whole collection was very cohesive, which I loved. So the first look was the lighter gray palette, and it had an athleisure vibe with the sporty look going on with the leggings and the socks. My favorite detail was the accessories. There were these completely bedazzled sunglasses, which looked so fabulous. The second look that I chose to draw was one of the coats or outerwear. This was made up of a shiny, patent, almost snakeskin material, and it had cool zipper metallic details all over it. The third look I decided to draw featured the hot pink that was a highlight of the show. Alexander Wang is known for being very monochromatic, but these looks with the pink were definitely a much needed pop in the collection and almost a break from all of the monochrome colors. The silhouette of the pink looks had a very strong shoulder with the shoulder pads, again going back to the strong woman and the office look for the whole collection. The final look that I drew was one of the more girlier pieces. It was a dress, and this dress was actually the one that Kaya Gerber wore during the show. So she was the one who walked down the runway wearing this one, and it was again almost workwear, menswear inspired because there was a cool button-down feature and collar to it, but the highlight was definitely the neckline. It had some sleeves that looked like it was almost wrapped around her shoulders and arms. Anyway, back to the sketch. It may seem really rough and loose right now, and that's just because I love the look of the watercolor just being a wash of color. And later on, actually right now, I'm going in with a darker pencil. This is a 3B, I believe, and I'm going in to darken all of the outlines to make everything stand out a bit more. I wanted to keep the loose illustrative vibe of the sketches, so I didn't make a perfect outline. I just did a quick solid single stroke with the pencil on some of the main parts of the body. Some of the lines weren't even connected, but I really like that unfinished, loose sketchbook vibe. There were a lot of metallic, silver, and zipper details in the collection, and I wanted to add those in, of course, to the sketches to stay true to the collection. So in order to do that, I used a white acrylic paint marker to go over top of the dried watercolor, and I drew all those little details in. And this just finishes everything off. Anyway, here are my finished Alexander Wang sketches. I hope you like them, and I hope you enjoyed coming along on my adventure to New York Fashion Week. Big shout out to Essie for taking me and for keeping me inspired with all of the amazing fashion and nail looks. Anyways, keep doodling, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye everyone!